Welcome back to the Lords of Lore Podcast Network. I'm Matt. I use he, him pronouns. You're listening to an episode of Unabashed, and I am joined today by a good friend of mine, Ethan Snowden. Welcome to the show.
Hi, my name is Ethan Snowden. I use he, him pronouns as well.
Awesome. So we have your pronouns. Let's get some of your nouns. What do you do? What kind of guy are you? What kind of things are you doing?
I'm a gamer mostly. I'm a gamer and I'm a voice actor and singer and performer, I guess. So
nice.
Yeah,
absolutely. Let's talk about some voice acting. You've done some pretty cool things.
Yeah, I've done a couple anime in my day.
Yeah, if you guys Google search Ethan, you can find some pretty fun voice clips.
Just make sure safe search is on. So
I like to tell people how I know the guest. You're a recent addition to the people I know list, I guess.
Yeah.
We met, I think, like a year ago now.
It's almost exactly a year ago, I think. Yeah.
We started playing in a role-playing game online. Like a tabletop role-playing game, but obviously over a great distance. And that was super fun. We played a game called Masks. For people who watch this show, as well as Lords of Lore Adventures, you know Cam Chapman. They were also in the game Ethan and I played in. We actually had a homosexual relationship, the two of us.
Oh,
with our characters.
With our characters.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I wasn't expecting that. That's funny.
Yeah, some fun stuff. We've been everywhere together, you and I.
Yeah, it's
so I'm excited to finally get you on this show.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, man, I'm honored. Delighted.
So people could probably tell if they're watching by video, or if you clicked on this video, the title is giving away what we're talking about. So today we're talking about Pokemon.
Heck yeah, man.
So obviously, like, Pokemon is something. I don't know if there's anyone in the world who doesn't know what it is, or at least hasn't heard of it. So this is a very cool topic, and I feel like everyone has some sort of connection or relationship with Pokemon, but obviously yours is very strong. And so let's get into that. So imagine, though, I don't know anything about Pokemon. I've been living under a rock my whole life. And I've just come, or imagine I'm an alien from another planet and I've come here and you have to explain to me what Pokemon is. How would you do so?
You're an alien and your first question was, what is Pocket Monsters?
Exactly. Or like maybe I've been here for like a week.
I'll try to sell you on it. I would say Pokemon is like a pet training simulator with communication features that is it's kind of about building connections both in real life and in a video game. I would say that's how I'd sell somebody from another planet to Pokemon.
I think that's pretty accurate. I have some follow-up questions if I'm role-playing as the alien, like what's a pet and what that
about. Well, how do I know English?
Yeah. But yeah, on a more I guess not broad, more specifically, how would you define the relationships you spoke of just a second ago? Like, what is the relationship you form with your Pokemon?
Well, that of friendship and camaraderie, but also that of a compendium or a checklist. So you kind of have a relationship. You're really tighten it with a few, and then, I mean, everyone usually has several hundred in a PC box somewhere that they don't touch. But yeah, it's about battling, catching, and trading, and training, and just kind of building those bonds with the ones you like. I would say customization would be the biggest feature of Pokemon. But,
okay. Going a little bit off my questions here. What do you think about the morality of battling Pokemon?
You're throwing some like Gen 5 black and white stuff at me. I think I mean, the games try so hard to sell you on the idea that it's totally moral,
right? And
that the Pokemon not only want to do it, but they enjoy it. So in that way, totally moral. But I do understand, like, definitely, especially in like the 90s when it was a new thing, and a lot of church folk were pretty upset about it. I can I get it a little bit, it kind of does have some similarities like cockfighting or I almost said pit bull fighting.
Yeah, like
But that
dog
just made me
fighting.
think of Mr.
Yeah.
International. But yeah, I kind of do get that. But I think the games, the way that they're framed, make it moral. Try really hard. Have you played new Pokemon Snap yet?
No.
I was just thinking you asked like it was moral, and I was killing myself laughing playing that game because in the original Pokemon Snap, you're hucking fruit at like random Pokemon and taking pictures of their reactions. It's like,
Right,
wonderful, you got more points because you hit Pikachu in the head. You know what I mean? But in the new one, they call the apples fluff fruit. And they're like, oh, don't worry, it doesn't hurt them. They love getting hit on the head with apples. It's just like, just how they spin it.
Yeah.
It makes it okay, I guess. So
Yeah, I'm sure in a world where there are these like magical, being Pokemon things, they could also be fluffy fruit. That's not out of the question, I guess.
I guess not. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was your first introduction to Pokemon?
That's a weird one for me. At least personally, I don't really remember there being time in my life where there wasn't Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
I literally, the very first toy I can remember was like a little Togepi. I think I got from like some kind of lollipop.
Okay. Yeah.
Sounds really unsafe.
Yeah.
You're either gonna get teeth marks in your toy or you're gonna choke. But
Yeah.
I'm here. So yeah, I remember my very first toy was like a little Togepi. Then I think I had a Squirtle or something I got from Burger King.
Oh, like with the gold cards, right?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure about that. I remember those gold cards. I don't think it was that. So I must be wrong about that. I remember those because that was the first movie. But yeah, I just saw my first toys were Pokemon. I watched the show all the time. The first DVD we ever owned as a kid was Pokemon. It was just the first episode. I watched it over and over again. So yeah, it's always kind of been a huge part of my life for some strange reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid, like I was into Pokemon, but like I couldn't afford the cards. I would watch the show, but everyone had like the games and the cards, and so I felt like super left out from Pokemon. And I was more like, no, Digimon's actually way cooler. Which is like, because they don't have merch you can buy, so that means I can't not buy the merch from Digimon.
Yeah, I definitely thought Digimon was pretty sick too as a kid.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
That first movie I remember being such a big deal. Like we said, the Burger King toys. I think there was also McDonald's toys. When you went to the theater, they gave you the cards. I just remember it being like such a huge deal. Did you see that in theaters?
I think I did. Yes, I'm pretty sure I saw it in theaters. I would have been 3,
Okay,
maybe
yeah.
4.
I always forget you're like younger than I am.
I'm a little younger than you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think much. But my first movie was Toy Story, and I think that movie, the Pokemon movie, came out like a couple months after.
Oh, okay, right.
And the Digimon movie was like a little after that. I think I went to all of them. I know my mom complains about the Pokemon movie, so she must have seen it. There's no way that she knows Ash turned to stone and Pikachu's tears brought him back to life. That's too obscure. So
Yeah. Wait, yeah, is that so? The Mewtwo movie is the first movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm thinking of Pokemon 2000 with like
Lugia. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's
I actually
the first
didn't
one I
watch
saw
that
in
one.
theater. Okay.
No, it looks cool.
You've never seen it.
I think I have. I'm kind of sure they're like on the Orange Islands and they're finding jewels. And
Sounds right to me.
There's the 3 legendary birds. I don't really watch the anime. I'm a
Okay,
big
so
Pokemon fan, but not.
that was my
every
next
facet of
question.
Pokemon.
What's your like? What is yours? Is it the games more? Is it the card game? But it's not the anime, like you said. So, what is your main draw?
Pokemon's such an interesting franchise because it's so cross media, right? Like if you're not into video games, then maybe you'd be into the card games, and if you're not into card games, maybe you'd be into anime, and if you're not into the anime, maybe the manga. You know what I mean? Like they can kind of catch most people at just about every stop, you know? So my introduction was definitely the anime. It was just on, and I thought it was cool. And then I think I just like the cards. I lived in a small town, and they sold them in the dollar store. So every time we were there, I'd get my grandmother to pick me up a pack for like $1. If you can believe that, $1 for Pokemon pack of cards. They're so expensive now. And from there, I think I was probably about 6-7 years old, and we were going on a road trip somewhere, and my mom for my birthday got me a green Game Boy Color.
Oh wow!
And it came with Pokemon Gold packaged in, and I didn't really know that there was video games, but that was like the most played video game probably I've ever owned. So
wow.
Played that like crazy. Yeah.
So does that one hold like a special place? Like, is that your favorite game?
Yeah, for sure. I was it's funny. I was actually just playing the remake Heart Gold on my not on my laptop. I don't emulate. I was playing it on my DS legal copy. That's what I meant to say. No, I was actually just playing it in preparation today. But yeah, Heart Gold is totally my favorite.
Okay, so
such a good game.
I've played one Pokemon game.
Oh, really?
I played it when I was like 18, and I didn't play it on an emulator either. I just
just owned it.
I had it on my laptop on my DS. I wired it. But yeah, that was the only one I ever played, and I played it with an Xbox controller. And like my Pokemon were named after rappers. Like my Charizard was Kendrick because he was spitting fire.
Spitting fire.
I think my was Alakazam. Alakazam with the spoons. I was like 2 Chains for some reason. Anyway.
That's awesome. So was it Fire Red Leaf Green that you played?
I think it was like the original Fire. And
wow,
see, this was my question
is
I've never understood the naming conventions of Pokemon, and I don't understand why they like the remakes or why 2 games come out at the same time. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, no, that's super. This is so cool talking to somebody about this. I feel like I'm always like have to hold back on like my nerdiness to like a socially respectable degree. So
yeah,
it's like this is my true power. This is my true form.
Unabashed, man.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. They're Red and Blue. Oh, how far do I want to go? Red and Blue was originally released in Japan as Red and Green.
Okay.
And then when they came over here, over in Japan, they re-released it again as one game. It was Blue. And Blue just kind of fixed like some sprites of Pokemon. It was a little less glitchy and stuff. So about a year later, when Pokemon came over here, we just had Red and Blue, and they got rid of Green because I guess they thought Venusaur looked dumb. I don't really know.
Okay.
So we got Blastoise and Charizard in the covers, but that would be Japan's original Blue and not their Red and Green. See, it's really confusing. But the reason why they're released, the reason why they're released in 2 versions is because you cannot catch every single Pokemon in one game, right? No matter what you do. So like if, for example, in the first game, you choose a fossil, right? But you also pick Hitmonchan or Hitmonlee, and you also pick a starter. So if you wanted to catch them all, you'd have to trade with your friends, right?
Okay.
It's like, I'll trade you Bulbasaur for Charizard or Venusaur for Charizard. And then that way our Pokedex can become a little more complete. Gotcha. But on top of that, they also have exclusive Pokemon. So I'm trying to think of which one's which off the top of my head. But in one of them, you could catch Weedle, which is like he's like the baby form of Beedrill.
With the horn, right.
Yeah. So one you can catch Weedle, and then in the other one, you can catch Caterpie. But in Red, let's say, you can catch Weedle, but you can't catch Caterpie. And in the other one, you can catch Caterpie, but not Weedle.
Right.
So it's really just trying to encourage you to trade with your friends and like have a social kind of interaction.
Oh, is it?
So that's why I'm
very jaded, man. So I'm like, is that the real intention, or do they want nerds to buy both copies?
It's so hard to say, right?
Yeah.
See, I think originally that's a really brilliant marketing strategy.
Right.
Because for one, you're going to trick kids into buying both. It's like, oh, Charizard's stronger in this one because he's on the box, but it's not true.
Yeah.
It's just same game.
Or even
twice.
like parents around Christmas to be like, okay, I'll get him red and you get him blue.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I had a friend growing up who owned every single duology of every single release.
Wow.
It was crazy. Yeah. I didn't have that growing up.
No, and they're like $80 now. Like, nah.
Yeah, well, exactly. And they sell them in dual packs now, like in one kit. And it's like, I bet you so many kids buy that, or parents, and like, Mom, I want both of them. And it's the exact same game with like the smallest difference.
Yeah.
They do get better at it some games, but for the most part, it's usually just exclusive Pokemon. But that's kind of what made Pokemon so popular back in the day, was like playground talk.
Yeah, for sure.
It just grew along with the internet perfectly. It was at the cipher point of when the internet was like big. And so you could have rumors and stuff like that still. But then as time went on and stuff, people would be like, oh, but actually it's like this. And you have all these theory videos around Pokemon and stuff because it's this weird, obscure game, but also everyone on the playground would talk about it constantly, right? I think Game Boy sales originally before Pokemon Red and Blue were like in the pits. They weren't doing great. And then it became one of the best selling systems like ever.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Because those games didn't exist on console until I think N64, right?
Well, kind of. That's just Pokemon Stadium,
Right.
which is like a 3D sim game of Pokemon. But like technically
Great
the first
game.
I love Pokemon
Yeah.
Stadium, but the first like mainline Pokemon game that came out was on the Switch. With Let's Go
think
Pikachu and Eevee.
There's one on GameCube. It's like
Yeah,
Pokemon
Coliseum and XD.
XD. Yeah.
They're kind of like weird middle grounds. They're kind of like Stadium. Like they want you to just connect your Game Boy, but they also have a story. So I've seen people sometimes call that like the first big 3D Pokemon game. I think it is. Yeah. I like
Nice.
it. Some people hate those games.
I couldn't get into it. It was just the guy moved too slow. So
Yeah.
that was going to
Yeah.
be the second Pokemon game I ever played, and was like, this is taking way too long. So I gave up on that one.
Which is why you played it on your DS laptop. Probably so you
Right.
could make
Yeah,
it go
I
a little
just
faster, right?
made my DS bigger, so just like a laptop. So obviously, like you've been into this for a long time. Or I was going to ask before this actually. Of the duologies, is there one that you were specifically like, I'm getting that one instead of this one? And do you have a reason every time, or is it just sort of like this cover's cooler?
It's actually a little bit of both. It's kind of different reason every time. When I was a kid, I just picked the blue one because I like the color blue, as you can tell. And then as I got older, my friends would always seem to pick the red ones because they wanted like the tough looking Pokemon.
Yeah.
And it seems like they kind of have like a more peaceful looking Pokemon you know what I'm trying to say. Juxtapose.
Juxtapose. Juxtaposition. Who cares?
Yeah. So you have like a peaceful Pokemon alongside like a destruction Pokemon, like a Venusaur against Charizard. So I just tended to lean towards like the softer looking ones.
Okay.
Usually the blue game for some reason.
Do you find that is like symbolic of your nature as a person? Do you find yourself to be a more peaceful than chaotic or destructive person?
I think so. Chaotic, sure, but not destructive.
Yeah. If I had to put you in alignment, I would say like probably like chaotic good, maybe. Like
yeah, I can see that. Yeah. I might say that too. I might say the same for you though too, or maybe you'd be like, I could see like, yeah, it might be that actually. I'm not sure. Chaotic.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite cover of Pokemon game?
Oh, whoa, that's a good question. I'm going to say, so my favorites are probably, I really like Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, because if you put the two together on the spines of the boxes, it makes another Pokemon silhouette, and it's like the big secret, like mythical Pokemon.
What was Arc? No, that's a
this one was called the Krozma. He's like the anti-light Pokemon.
Okay,
it's kind of cool. Yeah.
I know literally nothing about Pokemon lore besides the first 150. So we're gonna get into all of that.
151.
151. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, Pokemon stands.
There's 150 or more to see.
But I want to know, like, obviously we know how you got into it, but no, that was 20 years ago. So what keeps you coming back to these games? Is it like the gameplay of it? Are you there for the lore? Like, what is the main thing that pulls you back?
I'm not, I definitely did go through a phase where I watched, unfortunately, a lot of game theory. And I watched a lot of game theory and just like lore videos. I wanted to know everything. And I'm like, wow, like what, like is Ditto like a failed clone of Mewtwo and stuff like that. There's really interesting stuff in the lore, but I guess it's just, maybe it's just an age thing, or there's just so much lore now. It's really hard to like care for it.
Mhm.
Now for me, definitely went through a phase of like trying to catch them all, which I actually got to do at the start of this pandemic, which is
All
super cool.
Pokemon.
Every single Pokemon, all I got to say they're almost like 900 something now.
Wow, I'm so old, man.
Yeah, I know. I caught every single one, and that was always something I wanted to do, and I've been working on it through the years. I didn't do it all in the pandemic. That'd be insane. Um, but yeah. What was the question?
What keeps you coming back? But
Oh,
I
it
guess
keeps you
it's
coming
that
back. It's kind of
it's
that.
that
It's
pursuit of catching them all.
trying to catch them all for one. There's a really big thing, but also it's like it's potato chip in a video game. Like it's comfort food, you know?
Okay.
It's like it reminds me so much of my childhood in so many ways. I know what's gonna happen. It's not gonna be unpredictable. It's so comforting just to jump in and then like see all the new Pokemon and stuff too. You know. So not in a lore thing. I guess it would be gameplay, but
Yeah.
it's so nice.
It's like nostalgia, but also like as more games and new Pokemon come out, now catching them all takes a different, it's a different beast now because there's 100 more Pokemon or whatever the case.
Oh my god,
be.
yeah.
I wanted to ask, in our group chat, you sent that your son is actually quite proficient at catching shiny Pokemon, which are like normal Pokemon, but a little bit different. So I wanted to know, what's it like to experience Pokemon through your son, someone experiencing it for the first time? What was that like?
That's an interesting question. So with that, I'm just going to go into my personal life a little bit. I do have a son, but I also have 3 younger brothers and a sister,
right,
who are all also really into Pokemon. So for my son, he's so young, he wouldn't be like super enthralled with Pokemon. But there's a funny anecdote with that, where when I was saying in the group chat, I never really tried shiny hunting before. I got what's called the shiny charm, which is you get after you catch every single Pokemon, or that you fill up the national deck or the Pokemon Dex in your personal game. So I had a shiny charm, and I'm running around in circles trying to hatch eggs. And I probably went through like 50 eggs or something. I don't usually play video games in front of my son too much, but I put it down and walked away. And my son CJ picked up the controller and he moved the stick like for a second, a second. The character took a step and the egg hatched, and I could just hear the little shiny like
oh no,
like jingling. I was like, "Is your first Pokemon you ever got a shiny, dude?" I was freaking out. And then him and I were playing Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu together, because that really was a game that I was going to play with him. It's 2-player. It's really accessible for a kid. In that game, legitimately, his first Pokemon he caught was a shiny Gloom.
Wow.
It's like evolved Oddish. Yeah, just crazy. There's like 1 in 4,092 chance that can happen.
Wow.
Pretty crazy. Yeah. It's like his first 2 Pokemon are shiny.
I didn't even know shiny Pokemon were a thing till I want to say about 2 years ago.
Really?
It never occurred to me. Like
I guess if you're playing OG like Red and Blue, they're not in it. So
right.
They started in Gold. That makes sense. It's like such a huge part of Pokemon nowadays. Like there's so many YouTube channels and stuff just dedicated to shiny hunting. Crazy. I can't do it. I've tried it. I tried put my hand in. I got like 2 shinies, and I'm like, that's.
I am just so not that type of gamer. Like I'm not a completionist at all. I'm like, give me the story, and if there's one thing that bugged me, I'll go back. Like God of War, for example. Like I was like, yeah, I'll kill all the Valkyries. And when the last one was too hard, I was like, let me just drop this difficulty down a little bit. But
did you do it though?
Yeah, I ended up doing it, but
see, I think you and I were talking about that. That's so funny that I'm willing to catch every Pokemon, and I love God of War so much. That's probably my favorite game, maybe in the whole PS4 lifespan. But I tried to do the Valkyries, and I hated it so much.
Sorry,
I was like, this sucks. I hated it. And it's so funny that I'll go through catch all the Pokemon, but I'll stop there. But you'll do the opposite. I think that's really interesting.
So I wonder, is that like, will you do it, complete it as long as it's like easy? Because I
don't know.
I'm either way. Like if it's too hard, I'm like, nah. And if it's too lengthy, I'm like, no. Like the feathers in Assassin's Creed 2, like nah.
Oh.
Especially like where you can find someone else doing it on YouTube. I'm like, I'm not gonna put myself through that. And then all for that, you know?
Yeah, especially when there's like so little reward.
Right.
And not that there's a reward in Pokemon. It's literally
No.
a certificate that says like, you're a Pokemon master. I'm like, oh, thanks. I told my mom I finally got a degree and she's like, really? And then I sent her my doctorate in Pokemon mastery.
Oh man, that's incredible.
Yeah. That's super funny though, that you're willing to do that with God of War.
Yeah, I think I just wanted more and more of the story because I was just like so enthralled. But
yeah, it probably is that. I don't know. Yeah, for me, I hit a brick wall with that. But then I think about Kingdom Hearts 2 for me, or Sonic Adventure 2. I play that a lot.
yeah.
Those are like, I just think there's so many games that I've just destroyed the crap out of, just played over and over and over again. Maybe just that type of gamer. I don't know. That being said, though, when it comes to like Pokemon battling and like that type of that realm of the Pokemon world, I just cannot get into like the professionalism of it and stuff. You know what I mean? Like Major League Pokemon fighting.
Is that a thing?
Oh yeah. Oh, it's huge. It's massive.
Like people will fight each other.
Not in real life, in the Pokemon world.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. They throw down fisticuffs at a Pokemon World tournament. No, but it is a real thing. It's huge. It's one of the biggest audiences you'll see for a video game online.
Which okay, but aren't you like a big Smash Bros player?
Oh, massive. Yeah, I love Smash.
So what's the difference for you?
I guess for Smash, it's pretty skill based. You know what I mean? For Pokemon, it is a little bit skill based, but you also have so much time to be able to even get one Pokemon viable. You know what I mean? Whereas Smash Bros is myself getting better. In Pokemon, it's I'm gonna train this thing so much.
I see.
Get the best stats, get EVs, IVs on it. I want it shiny. You know what I mean? Like it would take insane amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Okay, I see. Yeah, no, it's more like it's playing a sport versus playing a card game, or
exactly. Yeah, it would be very similar to playing a card game. Yeah.
Cool.
Have you ever tried to play the Pokemon card game?
Honestly, no, not since I was a kid and I was like, mine has more HP than yours, so I win. I just never understood it.
Yeah.
And at this point, there's too much going on. I would never jump back into it.
But you've tried Vanguard and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, because I'm a weirdo.
You just draw the line of Pokemon.
Yu-Gi-Oh was like I had sort of learned that as a kid, so picking it back up as an adult was like, oh, cool, things have changed. But Pokemon is just I've never understood
all
this,
new.
So yeah, it'd be all new. But
I tried it for the first time this last year, which is a bad year to get into card games.
Yeah, community-based card games.
Yeah, I didn't get to play a single game with somebody in person. But I used the TCG app online, and it's actually a pretty easy game to understand. I was pretty surprised.
Nice.
In real life, I think there'd be too many tokens and markers. I feel like, I don't know, it'd be a mess. It'd be a really messy card game, but it's pretty fun. I was into it. A little janky, a little broken, but yeah, I mean, that app is actually a really good place to start if you ever want to try it.
Yeah, I did the same with Yu-Gi-Oh simulators this year, and then bought a bunch of real life cards and was like, I'm not going to play this one. I'm no longer stuck in my house. I don't know why I spent all this money. Anyway, I want to know, was there ever a time where you stopped playing the games? Like, do you own at least one of each duology that was released, or?
Well, yeah, I was actually thinking about that before we started. I think I do. I don't think I did own them. I didn't buy them all as time went on. You know what I mean? I wasn't like literally like at the release date every single time.
Okay.
Couple of them, I get for Christmas, but also some of them like I bought as an adult too. We didn't have like that much money as a kid. You couldn't buy every single Pokemon game that came out. But I as for a dropping off point, I feel like I probably went through that when I was about 14.
Okay.
And I started dating my wife. And she wasn't my wife at the time. She's my wife now.
When you were 14?
Yeah.
Oh
I'm not religious. I swear to God. Yeah, awesome. I know. Yeah, but I think that might have something to do with it a little bit. So I was kind of like went through like I'm too cool. I don't want to play Pokemon anymore. And I was at my buddy's house, and his older brother, who was probably like 17, 18, was going to go buy Pokemon Black and White at Walmart. And me and my friend, remember us sitting on the couch just being like, I mean, I don't know if you ever had this moment with your friends, but you're just like, oh, like Pokemon sucks, man. Like I don't want to, it's whatever. Like it's so lame, and you got to pick your starter and stuff. Oh, but Charmander is pretty cool. Yeah, Charmander is pretty cool, but the rest of it sucks. But Pokemon Gold's pretty sick. And then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, Pokemon's dope. You're right. I love Pokemon.
Yeah.
And so his older brother came home and he started playing it on the DS. This is opening release of the game, by the way. And we're watching him over the shoulder. I'm just like, whoa, the sprites move now. And like, oh, wow. Like, I love that starter. And like, there's no old Pokemon. It's all new Pokemon in this one. And so later that day, my friend and I went and bought it.
No
so
way.
that's my falling out period for Pokemon probably lasted less than 24 hours. And then I choked and I bought the new game anyway. So
yeah, I had a buddy similar, but not really. He's played Yu-Gi-Oh! Like since he was like, I don't know, whatever age Yu-Gi-Oh! Came out. Like, so I think we were like 7 or something. So he played the whole time. And sometimes he'd play competitively. But he always had cards and was always like deck building. And then he started dating this girl and was like, man, I'm not going to tell her I play Yu-Gi-Oh! So anytime before she'd come over, he'd like clean up the house and like make sure his cards were in this special box. And one time they came home together and he didn't have time to clean and he forgot that they were out. So she came in and was like, what are these? And they was like all lined out and like full like foil, like highest rarity of the cards. And he was like, yeah, this is who I am. I'm a duelist.
I'm a duelist, baby.
Yeah, then from then cool on, she was like, oh, okay. Like they didn't end up working out. It's fine.
Yeah.
But
you gotta
from
hide
then
your
on, he
interests.
was sort of like, yeah, that was sort of shitty that I had to hide that from my significant other. I'm not gonna do that anymore. I was like, yeah, good for you, man.
Good lesson learned. Yeah.
Yeah. I just tell like the girl I'm dating, I told her, I was like, yeah, me and my nephew started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Because he was interested in it. It was really just me like, yo, you'll love this game, man. You'll love this game.
You should try this.
I need someone to play with and you'll love it for sure. It's like, that has no idea how it works. Yeah. Okay, so with Pokemon, it's hard to sort of, if we're not talking about the anime specifically, it's hard to sort of pinpoint a character. But I always like to ask people if there's a certain character that they relate to more so than others. So for this one, I'm going to ask, is there a certain, you build your own character in the game or you choose, I think it's just male or female you choose from the get-go. Was there a certain one that you felt more in tune with, or are they all sort of just
like the choosable protagonists or like all characters? Okay. That's actually really funny. Characters. So in Pokemon Gold, your protagonist default name is Ethan. That's actually his name. Really? And that's the one I started with. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
that's so cool.
Yeah, it's super weird. It might be his name in the anime too, or maybe I can't remember his name in the anime, but I just happened to choose him and his name was Ethan. And I was like, oh, the game knows my name. That's cool. And I just clicked it. So yeah, I've always thought he was cool. The protagonist in Gold.
Do you have a character outside of the protagonist?
Outside of protagonist that I relate to, or like that I like? That you,
I guess, could like or relate to.
As a kid, I always thought Brock was funny, but I feel like nowadays, I'm like, that is not a cool character at all. That's not how you do that. No. But I'm not sure. I'm gonna say probably maybe Red, who's the protagonist still from Pokemon Red and Blue. But he is actually like a character in the games. He doesn't say anything. Literally his text is just like ellipses or like sometimes like a question mark or an exclamation mark. But the team that you fight him with is like the team that you would have had in Red and Blue, but they're cranked out. So it's like you're fighting him on top of this mountain and there's snow blowing. It's like this epic moment, but he's got like a Charizard and a Venusaur and a Blastoise and a Pikachu for some reason.
Wait, which game is it that you fight him?
Gold and Silver.
Okay, those are the next
Gold and
ones.
Silver stamp.
Okay,
gotcha. Yeah, it's the next one. Yeah, but you can also fight him in Sun and Moon. It may be the new ones. I'm not sure.
That's cool. Did you watch the anime that was made specifically about Pokemon Red and Blue?
Yeah. The original for sure. Yeah. I kind of watched it whenever it was on. I don't really remember like
Oh
Rushing
no,
home
not
to
the
watch it?
not like the original like Ash
Pokemon
Ketchum.
Origins.
Yeah. That's the one.
Yeah, I did actually. I loved it. I
Yeah,
thought it
me
was
too.
so cool. He's
Yeah.
awesome. I was actually just showing Cameron, friend of the show. I was showing him the other day the clip of Charmander getting bitten by Squirtle. Have you
Oh
ever
yeah,
seen
right.
that?
Yeah.
It is so violent. And Charmander's just screaming, and they're like, it's terrible. It's
Yeah.
such a cool show.
And it was such like the atmosphere it creates is so weird. It feels like you're playing the game as you're watching. Uh, I love that one. Okay, so obviously Pokemon takes the form of like a JRPG. Are those types of games that you find yourself more drawn to, or do you feel like Pokemon is the best JRPG, or is it like an inferior JRPG? How do you feel
I
about
don't,
it?
I don't think Pokemon is anywhere even in the top 10 of best JRPGs. In all
Oh wow.
honesty, that is the truth for me. I think the combat design is really good for what it's trying to do. Because I guess combat's not the main focus for Pokemon. It's probably like team building and stuff. So in
Mhm.
that way, team composition and stuff, I don't think there's a better game in the world for that. I really don't. But like, it is the most basic, like Final Fantasy 1, Dragon Quest 1 as like I go, you go, I go, you go, you're asleep. Now I go again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's so basic. I never thought the gameplay of Pokemon was amazing. And the difficulty was never quite where it should be for a series that's been running for what are they having, the 30th anniversary, 25th, no 20, they're the same age as me, the 25-year anniversary.
Okay.
Wow,
Wow, same age as Pokemon. Okay.
I am.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
1996. I know, isn't that weird? That's what I mean. It's always been a part of my life. Yeah, but like I think maybe I'm into some JRPGs. I don't know. I guess I like Dragon Quest 11. I like Persona. Those count. I do like a lot of Japanese flair in my video games, like Kingdom Hearts and stuff. But I feel like on average, I'm not huge on take turn based RPGs unless they have like a lot of style or there's something there to hook me. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, I'm with you. I get bored and I always I remember playing what's it called, Fractured Butthole, or the Stick of Truth, whatever was the first one.
Yeah, Stick of Truth.
Yeah, I remember playing that, and it was just like at the end of the game, it was just me using the wild combo move thing. It was like so boring. I just did the same thing every time. It was like, man, I can't even make this exciting for myself, even if I deviate. The
real question is though, would the Stick of Truth be a JRPG because it's not made in Japan? Is it the turn-based that's making it a Japanese RPG, or is it the location of where it's made that's making it a Japanese RPG? Do you know what I mean?
Interesting question.
Like,
I think it's
is Nier Automata a Japanese RPG?
No, but yes.
Right.
I mean, technically speaking,
I guess.
It sort of boils down to that, like the same is Avatar: The Last Airbender an anime? No, because it was made in America. But
I've dubbed some French cartoons before. I can't think of what they were off the top of my head. Just like little work and like Walla, like background stuff.
Okay.
But like French cartoons are also called anime. As are Korean cartoons. But it's almost like a blanket definition of like, was it not made in America? Yeah. Yes. Okay. It's animated. It's like, okay. Did they fight in it? Okay. It's anime. It's really weird. Teen Titans I've heard referred to as anime as well.
Yeah. So, I think for me, it's more style, right? It's more,
I think so too.
Or source material. Yeah. I usually like when that argument comes up of like Avatar is not an anime, I'm like, okay. It's exhausting. I'm like, you're not wrong, but why does it matter? Like,
yeah, exactly. But that's what I mean. Like, why? I don't know. Like, I guess Pokemon's a Japanese RPG. It's made in Japan, but do we compare it to other RPGs? Like, can we compare Pokemon to Skyrim somehow? I don't know. This is an interesting conversation to have. It intrigues me.
Yeah, I think so. There's that new Pokemon game, I think, that's coming out. That's like the open world. Like it feels like Breath of the Wild sort of in feel. Has that come out yet? Is that a thing? I don't.
No, it comes out January.
Okay.
Super excited for it.
So I would feel like something like that's more akin to something like Skyrim. But then again, isn't Zelda JRPG? It's Japanese.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but is it an ARPG, an action? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways,
we're
gonna have to talk about Pokemon Legends a lot though, because
what is Pokemon Legends?
That's the Breath of the Wild looking one.
Okay.
It sounds like an anime to me. It doesn't sound like a Pokemon game, but
yeah, it does. The title. Well, let's talk about that now, I guess.
Sure.
For that game, like you were saying before, like comparing it to something like Skyrim, for you, how much of the Pokemon game, like obviously, you said you don't come back for the lore specifically. It's more of like that familiar feeling of a game that's not going to challenge you too much, but something that's still enjoyable and you get that sense of completion. Is something like Pokemon Legends where there's the opportunity to put a lot of story elements into it and more exploration type of feel into it. Is something like that appealing to you, or do you think you'll lose some of the essence of what Pokemon is?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a funny thing. Like I do say that I don't want to say accessibility is necessarily what draws me to Pokemon. That's a little bit true, I guess. I do enjoy that. Like I can show my little brother or sister a Pokemon game and be like, hey, you're gonna really like this and you won't have a hard time and you can get into it, right? But I do kind of feel like they definitely need a hard mode or tutorial skips. I don't need to, I do not need to, Dark Souls mode. Yeah. I don't need to be told how to catch Pokemon anymore. I've known since before I could walk, literally. So it's crazy that they're still over tutorializing, they're hand holding and stuff like that. I feel like it needs to be accessible, but at the same time challenging for older players. It's a hard line to walk. I also feel like Pokemon is so privy to stagnation because it is like the same game every single time.
Mm-hmm.
They make the smallest changes, but really, like if you look at, let's compare from 3D Mario to 3D Mario, right? Let's go like Super Mario 64 to Sunshine to Galaxy, right? The jump there is astronomical. You can't even keep up with it. Or Zelda, Ocarina of Time to Wind Waker to Twilight Princess, like those are three completely distinct looking properties,
Right.
And even that's a whole other thing. That game also suffered some stagnation, I find too, which is why you had Breath of the Wild, right? And Pokemon Legends is Pokemon's Breath of the Wild moment. And I think it really, really needs it. It should have probably happened like 10 years ago, actually. And I'm really excited to see some of the steps they're taking. I kind of feel like, so we have like the remakes of Diamond and Pearl coming out.
Okay.
Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And they are a shot for shot remake of Diamond and Pearl.
Has that happened before where they do
it hasn't shot? No, it hasn't.
Like is Ruby Red
Omega Ruby. Omega Ruby is similar to Ruby. It's like pretty close, but it's like, oh, you have 3D graphics and the character models look like people. They don't look like little like chibis.
Okay.
So they definitely made some pretty significant changes, and they'll add like cutscenes, and they'll add lore, and they'll add new characters. All of a sudden, you can catch every legendary in it. They'll add a lot of things. But this Diamond and Pearl remake pretty much has changed nothing. From what I can tell, it's exactly the same. You can I think you can customize your character. You can pick what skin tone your character has. That's a big deal for Pokemon. Yeah, not every game has done that, and the original Diamond and Pearl didn't. So that's a good change. Other than that, though, it's exactly the same. But I actually enjoy that for once. I think I'd be really mad in any other case. But because you're releasing it beside like this Breath of the Wild moment, you kind of, I can go back. I can have my traditional game, or I can have like this epic adventure, where I can throw Pokeballs and it's all in real time. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, like, should this game be incredible? And this new format of Pokemon is what gets taken to the sequels and anything that comes after it. Do you think we'll lose? Like, would you be sad that we're leaving behind the old format of Pokemon?
Yeah, well, I kind of feel like, and this is just pure speculation, I kind of feel like Pokemon's heading in a direction like that we're in right now,
Mhm.
where maybe next is the next Pokemon game, like traditional style. I feel like it's probably going to be a remake again, maybe Black and White or Gold and Silver again. Maybe,
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of feel like they're going to be doing this split Pokemon game thing for a while, like really, because like the Pokemon Legends game comes out a month after Diamond and Pearl.
Okay.
Like you do not have to wait long for
Right.
both of them. I feel like it's going down that way. Sword and Shield, which is the last release of Pokemon, mainline release, it tried to do both. So like you'd walk around in like tiny corridors and like grid by grid JRPG kind of game, right? And then they'll put you in a giant field and there's Pokemon everywhere and they appear on the battlefield. It's a totally different game for 5
Yeah.
seconds, but it's a tiny little area. It's really not big. I explored the whole thing literally in 5 minutes, right? And you can like catch Pokemon way out of your level and stuff. And it's super cool. And I do enjoy that. It's the best part of the game. Everyone that talks about it will say that. But then as soon as you're done that area, you're walking down a tiny corridor,
Right.
and you're Pokemon verbatim again, but you can't even move the camera. Like, why is moving a camera a big deal in like, what was that, 2019?
Yeah.
How is that the biggest deal in the world? Like, oh my gosh, 360-degree camera movement. Oh, that's a new game.
It's wild to me how successful franchises like Pokemon or like Zelda, and there's other ones, of course, they get so big that, they feel like they're untouchable. And then 10 years later, they're behind the curve because they haven't changed anything. Because they've sort of banked on being the thing. I think a lot of Nintendo properties have gone that same route as well. And that,
For sure.
nothing's really changed. And so now people are
But-
discovering other ways to game. And it's like, yeah, you're kind of left in the dust a little bit.
I do wonder if it's like they're going too big for their bridges. I think Pokemon's its own thing entirely, but like I think about Zelda, Mario kind of has stagnation problems too, really. And I think about Dragon Quest as well. Like each game does definitely look prettier and it looks different, but a lot of the mechanics are carried over and things like that. And I wonder how much of it is like a traditional thing or they're trying to recapture old fans, and how much of it is like, I guess maybe like what you're saying, like, do we need to change it? Do we need to, if we rethink the wheel, will we screw this up? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I feel like for the most part, you can throw me over the coals for this. Like, I think Skyward Sword's okay. I'm sorry.
I have no pity because I haven't played it, but I love the lore from it. I've watched,
I bet
everything about it, but I have no, say on the gameplay. But obviously that is, a controversial topic. In that,
sorry, I'm done. I'm out.
No.
Kicked off the show.
But I think without Skyward Sword's mediocre reception, Breath of the Wild probably wouldn't happen. Like, if people were over the moon about Skyward Sword, there probably wouldn't have been a big push to reinvent the wheel, like you say. So
yeah,
I think you can fail forward sometimes too.
Yeah, no, I think that's where Pokemon's heading in a lot of ways. Yeah. I hope they go nuts with it. I don't care. Like, just go crazy. You're not gonna turn me off from it.
Yeah.
As long as, I don't know, you can fight with Pokemon and catch them and play with them. Like, dude, I don't care.
As long as that foundation's there, they could pretty much do anything.
Just go nuts. Yeah, there's so much you could do with Pokemon too, right? And you have that base, especially like with things like stats and things like that carrying over.
Right.
Have you ever heard of like the Pokemon Sword and Shield controversy? Like,
no,
why it was like a big deal? That's crazy. So every single Pokemon game so far, up until that one, you could trade up any Pokemon from the previous game, right?
Okay.
Which is what makes Pokemon such a cool franchise in my eyes. It's like I literally have Pokemon saved on my phone right now that I caught when I was like 8, and like they're named after your family members and stuff that have passed, and like there's literally memories in there of these stupid little digital sprites, and I think that's what makes it so amazing. It's like trading and stuff like that, finishing your Pokedex, but also being able to just move that along and carry that throughout the years. And you've been able to put them in every single video game up until Sword and Shield. And their reasoning was that they're like, well, this time we want to make better animation for the characters. You know, we want to redo every Pokemon's animation. And it was like, okay, cool. Like, that's awesome. Like, I you know, the old animation in the other Pokemon games didn't look amazing. It was okay, but I think it's something they could use, right? But then the game came out and you start playing it, and they're literally just took the models from the 3DS game and put them in this one. Like, there's no touch-ups. They're the exact same models, so the same animation. A couple new Pokemon have new animations, but the old ones pretty much seem untouched. So all of a sudden, like, literally half the Pokedex you could not put in this game, and you couldn't play with like all your old Pokemon anymore, which is like a huge draw for me anyway.
So
and a lot
when
of
you
people.
switch them over to the newer game, do they come with the same stats you finished with?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exact same stats, moves, everything exactly where you left it. Yeah.
Wow. So
the only thing
would
you
that
can't
give you
put
like
on
an
them,
advantage though? Like say you're starting off at level 1. I don't really know how Pokemon works, but is it easier for you to get through the earlier stages because you have a level 99 Charizard or whatever?
For sure. It's actually kind of interesting how Pokemon handles it. So if you trade a Pokemon from another game and it's over the level that the game thinks you should be at, it'll tell you that at every badge. It'll be like, oh, you can use Pokemon that are level 20 and higher now, right?
Okay.
If you try to use a Pokemon that, so let's say it's level 30 and you can only use level 20s, it won't listen to you in battle. It might attack, maybe, but you have like a 1 in like 30 chance that it'll actually do it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it kind of circumnavigates that. I will say, you probably, if you're persistent enough and you kept mashing the A button, eventually you would win that fight.
Right.
You're probably not going to get killed,
And
but also
fun at that point.
You're really not. But at the same time, on release, you're really usually not able to trade them into the new game until you either beat the game or about a month after the release of the game. Sometimes they let you do it.
Cool.
Yeah. So on release, they seem to never let you do that. Yeah. But if you bought Sword and Shield right now, there's really nothing stopping you from trading in your level 100 Mewtwo.
So they changed it.
Well, it's just been out, right? It's been out long enough. Up until Black and White, you had to beat the game to do that. And then X and Y, which is the 3DS games, they started doing it as an app service. So you pay like a yearly fee of like $3 or something.
I
know. It's like put your Pokemon in like a cloud storage, and then so about then you could just put them on your games whenever you want. And that's where we're at now. And now we have another app on top of the app for the 3DS, which is even crazier. This one is something like $3 a month instead of $3 a year.
And what does this one do?
This one's Pokemon Home, and it's you could like link all your other Pokemon games together into it, and they all stay in one thing, and it handles all like the trading and stuff. You don't have to do it in the games anymore.
Wow.
But so here's my issue with it. Okay, here's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
So you're gonna charge me a couple dollars a month. It's not much. It's negligible. I don't notice it. It's okay. I'm not mad about that. But let's say like my credit card gets declined that month, or I don't know, something happens, or I forget to pay for it again, right?
Sure.
What happens to my Pokemon? You know what I mean? I don't know. I haven't done it yet. I'm scared. I don't want to find out. Maybe I'll look it up when I've done this, but you're kind of holding my Pokemon hostage.
Right.
I can't trade them into the new game. They're not able to go back to the old game anymore. So they're stuck on my phone, and I have to pay a certain amount every month to keep them on there. Oh my
gosh. And these are the ones you were saying you've had since you were 8 years old?
I've had since I was like a kid, right? I've had like shiny Pokemon on there. There's Pokemon named after members of my family that aren't alive anymore. Like there's some sentimentality in these. I read a post once of this kid playing Pokemon Emerald with his little brother. And he named this one Pokemon after his little brother. And then this Pokemon, when it evolves, can kind of turn into 2 Pokemon. Okay. So you get one and then another. And so he named one. It's Nincada. It's in Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald.
Okay.
So anyway, this thing evolved and it turned into a Ninjask and a Shedinja. It's 2 different Pokemon.
Okay.
And this one Pokemon was named after his brother, and it was the Ghost. And then he named the other one after himself, right? And this brother died. His brother passed away, and so he had this Pokemon to kind of like immortalize him. And I just think about like stories like that. I'm like, that's a Pokemon that isn't able to be in like the new games, but this poor person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's sentimentality in this.
Right.
It's crazy.
And now they're just being, how much does that memory mean to you? $3 a month is not
Yeah,
too much
$3
to
a
pay
month.
for
Is it that much?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is.
But
they got
it's
you.
also kind of like a first world problem too.
Oh, for sure.
Most video game problems are, don't get me wrong, any kind of complaining about entertainment. But it's so frustrating. But at the same time, I guess I kind of understand why all of a sudden they're like, we can't put every single Pokemon in these games anymore, because there's actually over 1,000 different models that we have to make for forms and stuff like that.
Right.
Like the amount of programming it must be, they do have to draw the line in the sand somewhere. But if they didn't make it so Pokemon Home was like a monthly fee or something like that, or they had a better way to handle it, I feel like I'd be a little less upset.
Like the real live Pokedex. That's just like a device that you own. And it
that'd be
stores
sick.
that data, and there's no
That'd be
other
great.
server that can store it. There's a way. There's $80. Everyone would pay for that, I think.
Yeah, NordVPN
Yeah,
Pokedex,
Nord
like
Pokemon. Okay, I want to ask about Pokemon Go, because obviously, I think it was 2016.
Never heard of it. What's that?
Oh, okay. Well, it's this thing. Huge cultural moment. Like, I think in my life, at least recently, it's like COVID-19 and Pokemon Go were like the big things I lived through. I'll tell my kids about, like.
Do you play Pokemon Go?
Not anymore. And this is a interesting thing to me, because like I have this terrible habit and like narcissistic trait where I'm like, when I left the fandom in the dust, so did everybody else. And then sometimes I come back to things, I'm like, you people are still here. Like,
what's going on? I know I've done that too.
What have you done? But so like when I stopped playing Pokemon Go, I assumed the whole world had gotten over it as well. And then Luca, who's also on the podcast, he still plays Pokemon Go like to this day. Are you the same way?
I turn it on.
Okay.
I gotta say, like, I was super into it. I probably say I dropped off of it within like the first year of it coming out.
Right.
It just kind of like the way they handled like where the Pokemon was. I really enjoyed when it was like just out in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
It was like, oh, you're warmer. Oh, you're cold. I love that. But now that it's like, oh, there's this Pokemon over at this church or this statue. And it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
There's so much grinding. And so it's just such a money pit,
Yeah. I think I did spend money on like lures and like balls and like whatever the things you spin to get those things.
Modules. Yeah.
And like incubators for eggs and stuff.
Yeah, it's tempting. I've definitely been there before. I'm like, maybe should I get back into it? It's just I don't know. They've had their own share of controversies in this last year too. That big one being at the start of the pandemic, they they made the distance wider of your character model. So it's like let's say like instead of like I don't know what it is, like a 10-meter radius, it was like an 80-meter radius.
Okay.
So it was so people would social distance a little more and still play Pokemon Go. And I think that did more for that game than like anything. I think it's why so many people got back into it. Yeah. Also, they had nothing better to do, right?
Yeah.
But within like the last month, they took that off and it went back to how it was before the pandemic. And I don't think that was a good move. People don't like that.
That's definitely
really shitty.
For sure.
Yeah.
What do you have like a favorite Pokemon Go memory?
Oh man, when it came out, I literally put on my my Pokemon Trainer Red. It's like Ash's hat.
Mm-hmm.
I put his hat on, and I wore my Ash Ketchum jacket that I dressed as for Halloween, and I rode around town. And the first Pokemon I caught was an Eevee over by the library in town. Man, it was so cool. I look like such a dork. I had a backpack on and everything. And I'm like, this feels so right. Oh yeah. And I like hacked my phone. So it was like a week before the actual
I did the same thing. Yeah.
I think everyone did. I think it's why that game was so bad when it came out.
Oh, could be. Yeah. I remember I put on a hat for sure. I put on like a flannel, took my longboard, and I live sort of like a little bit out of town. Not quite country, but like close enough. So there was no stations or anything. And there was like literally no Pokemon. I caught like a Pidgeotto or whatever. Is Pidgeotto the first one or the second?
Pidgey's the first one. Yeah.
Pidgey. I caught like a few Pidgeys and a Rattata uh like in my neighborhood. And then when I went out to like go on a walk, it was just like nothing. So I spent like an hour aimlessly looking for Pokemon. Uh yeah, I remember like going to like the legislator in town and just like hundreds of people like there's an arcanine over here.
Oh yeah, I feel like the release of Pokemon Go was the closest we've ever gotten to world peace.
Yeah.
Like such a wonderful like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it
it's
just
so
felt like
good.
something like I remember like going places and like you just see another group of people and you just knew. You'd be like,
Yeah.
yo, you
Oh
guys
yeah.
playing Pokemon Go? And they're like, yeah. It's like, okay, we'll do like a lure rotation. So we all just hung out. I remember like rollerblading and like going on dates to find Pokemon and stuff. Such a good
I
2
did that
weeks.
too. Oh, it's awesome. I got my wife into it. And my wife actually has, God bless her, like put up with my Pokemon-ness, I think, because of Pokemon Go.
Is she like she's not into Pokemon as
Not
much as you,
really,
but
no.
at all? Okay, wow.
No, not
Uh
really. I think I've forced her to play a couple with me before, but I don't think she would have otherwise. She's like, I'll do this because I love you. But
mhm. Do you
yeah.
like what is her take on Pokemon? Like how does she feel? Is she just not interested in it, or like what's her sort of outlook?
It's a good question. I was asking her just for the podcast stuff. I'm like, Dad, what's your favorite Pokemon? She's like Snorlax, obviously, and stuff. So she definitely does know a little bit about Pokemon. Probably because of me a little bit, right? As for her like outlook, she probably thinks it's, I think she's really into the concept and like the monsters and stuff. But then she actually sits down and she's like, oh, it's like a dinky little like, like a Game Boy game still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She
Yeah.
wants like a big adventure and she's super excited for Legends Arceus to come out. I think because I showed her the trailer and she legit seemed like she was gonna play it. So
Nice.
it might be the first Pokemon game I watched somebody play before I play it. I don't know.
Wow.
It'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be like a wild change in your Pokemon. Well, I
Pokemon
guess there was the
career.
one you watched and then immediately went and
That is
bought.
true. That was about an hour.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta have this game.
So your wife doesn't hate it, but do you
No.
feel like there are people out there like what is the biggest misconception about Pokemon?
Well, I'd say the biggest one is that it'll corrupt your children into
Yeah,
devil
yeah.
worshipping hellmongers.
I was gonna say Christians are just haters, man. Everything that comes out is
It's
like
true. Every fun thing.
yeah.
That is true. But apart from that, I would say the misconception of the morality would be one of the big ones. I still hear that. Like you shouldn't play that Pokemon game. That's the same as feeding a pit bull to another pit bull. It's like, whoa, dude.
Whoa.
Pikachu wants to use Thunder Shock, okay? Yeah.
I want to ask you about Detective Pikachu as well.
Sweet, yeah.
Have you seen
Man,
it?
you know
And
what's
what were your
funny?
thoughts?
When I was like, I'd love to do an Unabashed, and like we were talking about what to do, and we decided on Pokemon. As soon as I said it, I was like, should I pick a specific part of Pokemon? Because this series, I might be the biggest franchise in the world, period. So
Right.
at least in terms of multimedia.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so like last episode of Unabashed, or 2 episodes of Unabashed ago, we did Zelda, and that one was tough to tackle as well because it spans so far and there's things like we couldn't get to because just like time constraints. But with Pokemon, I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, holy cow.
Yeah.
It must be intimidating when you don't know it too, right?
Yeah. So I don't, but this one I feel a little more comfortable with because I'm like, I don't know what I don't know. So yeah, like with Zelda, it's like, oh.
Have you seen Detective Pikachu?
I have, yeah.
What were your thoughts? I'm curious of your thoughts as like a non-Pokemon fan.
Well, so I'm a big fan of the original 151 Pokemon. I don't know much about the others, but that original Pokemon anime or cartoon, as I would have called it at the time, like that one has a special place for me. But I remember one night I was like a little bit tipsy and I was in my friend's car and I was like, dude, listen, I haven't really, but I wrote a script for my Pokemon trilogy, big screens, live action. This is how it's gonna go. And I like broke it down to him, like, start with like Ash and the story, blah blah blah. And then the second film is Mewtwo and he's taking over the world. And then I can't even remember what the third film was. It was like I don't know, something bad. But I pitched my whole, I can't even remember. I pitched him like my whole script for Pokemon trilogy. And like, so when Detective Pikachu came out, or when it was announced that it was coming out, that because it was right on the heels of like the big Pokemon Go wave. So I was like, oh, we're finally getting like a live action, like a darker Pokemon, like I don't even know what I was thinking it would be like, but like something to sink your teeth into, like the big Pokemon, like live action, everyone's been waiting for it for 20 years. And then when it was like, yeah, it's going to be Detective Pikachu and it's a Pikachu that can talk. And I was like, are you kidding? That's
What?
so like, I hated it. And I thought it, like, when I heard the description of it, I just imagined it like as a cartoon. It was like, okay, like that's not very fun. So my attention towards it, like, just totally off the map. And then the trailer came out and I was like, whoa, that's like my script. And then
Ryan Reynolds was Pikachu in my script.
Exactly. But then for whatever reason, when it came out, I didn't watch it. I think my nephew went with like his stepdad. And so like I had no reason to go to the theater alone to watch Pikachu. So I didn't make an excuse to go and I never ended up seeing it. So it wasn't until like maybe 2 or 3 months ago now that I actually watched it and was like, this is pretty fucking good. This is a good movie.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah.
And a lot of the things, like, again, I'm not a writer, I'm not a script writer, I'm not trying to claim that, but a lot of the things that I thought would have been cool to see and like a live action were actually in there, like Mewtwo being like a weapon more than like its own being. Yeah, I thought it was an excellent movie. I was shocked that more people weren't talking about it when it came out.
I'd like to know how it did. I feel like because it's Pokemon, like it must have done well, right?
I think it did like okay. Like it wasn't like
Yeah.
a Star Wars or like a Marvel movie, but it was like, I think maybe I want to say like opening weekend made like 50 or 60 million, opposed to like what you'd shoot for like 100 or so.
Yeah,
I'll
just
have to
100
check,
million.
but
It's so bizarre. We live in a world where the Sonic the Hedgehog movie outsold the Pokemon movie.
yeah,
Like, what
that
a
is
weird
weird.
world we live in, especially going off of that original footage. When I don't know, I think I really enjoyed Detective Pikachu as well. I was pretty pleasantly surprised. I feel like the ending was a little much. Ironically, it was a little too Pokemon for me. You know what I mean? I'm just like,
Also,
we're fighting. We're
okay.
just, Mewtwo and Pikachu are fighting now. And then like the out of nowhere, like, oh, when a Pokemon's in a frenzied state, this gas will like make them super duper Pokemon. And I'm just like, this is even weird for Pokemon. This is like out there, who wrote this?
That's why I loved it. I was like, yes, this is the dark Pokemon I always wanted. I just imagine like kids crying, like, why is Pikachu bad?
Yeah, I actually thought so many aspects that were so handled so well. And the thing that I actually liked about it the most is it must be the first video game adaptation that I've seen, at least. Maybe the Riddick movies do this, but it's like the first video game movie I could think of that's totally could just take place in the world of the games.
Yeah.
I don't think they've ever said it's like canon to the games, but if they did tomorrow, I wouldn't bat an eye at it. I'd be like, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's one of the best video game movies for sure, because there aren't very many good ones. And I think, like you mentioned, Sonic might be up there. I still haven't seen Sonic, which is weird because I love Sonic.
Yeah, I gotta say, Detective Pikachu and Sonic are probably the best ones.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I don't
for
even
me
know
anyway.
what else would compare, because there's so many bad ones. Like I even thought Assassin's Creed had the hope of being like the next big great video
me
game
too.
movie.
That was so boring. Yikes. I think I've heard, though, I'm not 100% certain if this is sure, but I think they're making sequels to Detective Pikachu and it's handled by Del Toro's team, I believe.
Oh,
I
that
don't
is
know if he's
gonna.
involved in the film, but I think like they're trying to go back to like a more traditional Pokemon game and then use like Del Toro as like I don't know if he's a monster designer or what he's doing, but
Like Guillermo
yeah.
del Toro, yo, that guy.
Yeah, Guillermo del
No,
Toro.
that
Yeah.
because he was originally signed on to do The Hobbit, and that didn't work out.
Oh, I
They
know.
left creative differences, and
That dude has been dropped from so many projects, man.
but like also like he makes weird monster movies. So I'm interested. I hope that his vision is seen the whole way through, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, no, man, we can't actually have the Pokemon terrifying the children. Actually,
There's some creepy Pokemon though. Like there's definitely some
Totally.
really scary stuff. That stuff as a kid, I was into that lore stuff. Like Drowsy, the fact that like he's or Hypno, what Drowsy turns into. Like he guides kids into the woods and eats their nightmares. Like, whoa.
What?
Yeah,
I didn't know
yeah.
this.
Or
That's messed up.
Mimikyu. Mimikyu is like is a Pokemon, like an ugly little ghost that's very terrifying, and it scared so many kids that it hides itself in a Pikachu doll. So
Yes, I've seen that.
it's
one,
just
yeah.
like, oh hi, pretty little Pokemon. That it's like this creepy little like
Yeah.
broken neck doll. Ugh.
Even Cubone wearing the head of its mother.
Its Japanese name is Orphon.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. That's hardcore. But no, there's definitely some dark stuff in Pokemon. Like I'm not somebody that needs to see that. Like I'm not somebody that's like, oh man, I need like edgy Pokemon, But I feel like Del Toro could do something with it if that's who they're gonna get for the next one. So
Yeah, I remember my whole idea for like a movie trilogy was based off this like it's probably like a Reddit theory I saw that was like, yeah, the reason why there's no men or so few men in the original Pokemon games because they just finished having like a nuclear war that created the Pokemon.
I read this, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, time to
That's
get
awesome.
pitching.
I read in a magazine like why there are so few men in the games and why your dad's always gone or usually gone, and it's because like their generation of Pokemon traders, all the males just went to go be like Pokemon masters, and they're just not good dads. So they just were on the road all the time. They're like, oh, that kind of makes sense.
Do you feel you just reminded me of something? So Ash Ketchum in the anime has always been 10 years old, even though the show's been going on for like 25 years. He's always the same age. Do you feel like while you're playing these games, you go back to your 7-year-old self playing Diamond for the Gold for the first time?
A little bit, yeah, in some ways. Like just playing Gold today, it's crazy seeing those environments and stuff and how much memory there is in that. And like I can kind of be like, oh yeah, I was sitting in the back of a car going to Kelowna or something when I was at this part of the game, like that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that in that way, yeah. But also, man, I'm too cynical and jaded to remember what being a kid is like every day of the week. Pokemon's not fixing that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, has this property ever made you cry though?
Oh, that's interesting.
Because when we talked about Zelda, Maya and myself, I think I said like the first time I played Breath of the Wild, there were so many like Easter eggs and references, and you would see like familiar races or places or people, and I just every time I would just start tearing up, be like, this is so beautiful to see it in this way. Has that ever happened to you, that same kind of thing?
For sure with Breath of the Wild, without a doubt. I'm probably just as big of a Zelda fan as I am a Pokemon fan.
Right.
I'm just really into a lot of stuff. Pokemon though, I don't know. It just doesn't have that kind of magnitude. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
But they also haven't really had a chance to try to tackle Pokemon like Breath of the Wild, or they haven't done that, right?
Right.
Like Breath of the Wild's so good because they're using like musical stings and leitmotifs and stuff like that to remind you of like the other games, and like seeing like Lon Lon Ranch destroyed and stuff, and realizing that in Breath of the Wild, like that was a moment where I was like, oh my god, like seeing the Temple of Time.
Exactly.
Just like, I can't believe they're referencing this. Like, this is so cool. Pokemon, however, is always kind of referenced the ones prior, pretty much every single game. So in that way, I haven't really had that moment. in terms of stories, I really can't think of one that's like pulled at my heartstrings enough. I would probably say Black and White. They kind of they try to tackle a little bit in their own Pokemon way. They try to tackle like, are we doing the right thing by having these Pokemon as pets? Like, is this slavery? Should we liberate Pokemon and let them be free? Do you know what I mean? Is that the right thing, or is the right thing us helping them? And I think in the end they land with like, Pokemon are your friends and they should be with you all the time. So it's not really an interesting debate, but they did try that for a little bit. So I'd say the closest to, maybe not having me choked up, but the closest to like really intriguing me would be that for sure. But no, I've definitely never cried with Pokemon. I think Pokemon Origins though, there was some moments where I was just like, whoa, like crazy, you know?
So you've talked a lot about things that maybe some like stagnation or things that Pokemon does that you're not so much a fan of. But if you had to put a finger on the thing you absolutely hate about Pokemon, what would that be?
Ooh, that's a good, man. You don't have enough time of the day, dude. Thing that I hate the most, it's just handled so lazily sometimes, I find. And I don't want to say that, but it's the biggest property in the world, period. It's not the biggest video game property or biggest cartoon show or anything like that. It is literally the biggest media property ever, right? And these games, sure, they look good. They look okay, right? They look passable and they can be really fun. And I like that aspect of them. But you make more money than any company in the world does for the most part. I mean, I guess I don't actually know that, but pretty much, right? Any entertainment property, it looks like. And you're shoveling out games that look like this. Do you know what I mean? Like Zelda is not making those kind of sales anywhere close. Mario is nowhere close to what a Pokemon game is, right? Somehow Animal Crossing is, but that's a whole other thing.
I think that's like those sales are skyrocketed just because of COVID.
That's the pandemic. Yeah, I think so. But for the most part, like other games don't get that kind of income, right? Why isn't that being reinvested into the video games that are pushing this franchise? You know what I mean? I think they are being reinvested, but they're being reinvested into toys, cards, anime, movies, right? I don't hate that necessarily. That's okay. But there still must be enough money to shovel into what I think a lot of people would consider the biggest aspect, right?
Yeah.
Or at least the one that's going to move the franchise.
The most interactive one, of course, right?
So. For sure, yeah. Like it's really bizarre to me. And I know that it's actually probably more than funding. It's probably rush. They're because they're releasing these things about once a year now since probably about 2014. I think they started doing that. I think that was probably the worst decision they've made. I don't know I think they probably haven't really lost fans because it's Pokemon. They're never going to do bad. But I feel like a lot of people I talk to and stuff kind of fell off at that time.
Right.
Because they're feeling so rushed and shoddy. And it's like the amount of features that were in all these old games, just not in them. Even the remakes of games, right? It's like, if you're remaking a game and you're making an inferior product to the original, why would I want the remake? You know what I mean? So just, more than anything, the thing that's just making me mad is it comes across as incompetency or laziness, but I think it's probably just rush and crunch all the time. They just need to take like a year or two, which I think they did with Pokemon Legends. I'm pretty sure they did. And that's why it looks like a Breath of the Wild game. But like those kind of games take like more than 2 years, you know? Breath of the Wild took like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
That we know of anyway. It might have even been going longer than that. These games need to take longer and they need a lot more money and hands on deck, I think.
Yeah, that would be the worst thing, right? Is if Legend comes out and it feels great, like it's a great game, and then it's short, or the story's great, or the gameplay sucks, or it's glitchy. Like that would be the biggest disservice, because then they'll be like, okay, failure. We'll go back to what we know.
Yeah, we're gonna go back to what we know. Yeah, because that's how board games work. I can almost guarantee you. I don't know about that last part. I feel like it's going to sell great. I have no issue with that. But I can almost guarantee you, it's going to be 2 steps forward and 1 step back. There's going to be one thing there that is just not quite right. You know, for me, the biggest red flag right now is watching trailers stuff. It doesn't look great, which is whatever. That's not the end of the world for me. But the biggest problem is seeing that the whole game kind of revolves around catching Pokemon, which is funny that that's an issue for somebody that caught every Pokemon.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like, that's it. Like there's literally, it just seems like you're filling out checklists for this game. And it sounds like that'd be a fun aspect of a game like that. But
right.
It's not like Breath of the Wild is about you getting stronger and just getting stronger. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
There's exploration. There's exploration. There's world building. There's so much going on at once and all these clashing things. You can cook meals. You know what I mean? To me, it doesn't seem like this Pokemon game has that other thing yet feeding into
No
itself.
Man's Sky of Pokemon games.
Yes, exactly. That's a great point. Exactly, No Man's Sky. It really needs something like that, I think.
Well, I hope it's good for your sake, at least.
Yeah, or I riot. That's it. I'm joking. I'll play it. That doesn't matter.
Has there been one thing specifically, though, that Pokemon has helped you with in your everyday life? Like a lesson maybe that you've taken away from playing or watching any sort of consumption of Pokemon?
Well, like I've done quite a bit of theater in my life, and I have to do auditions and stuff quite often. So I have a lot of scripts that come along. I have to memorize them, right? And I always like my mom told me when I was in like 9th grade and I had to start memorizing the periodic table. She's like, how come you could name every single goddamn Pokemon, but you can't name
I care
5
about
elements?
those things.
I'm like, because I care, you know?
Yeah.
But then, as an adult and stuff, it's like you have so many lines to learn stuff. It can be a chore sometimes. It's not always fun, right? And I kind of do come back to that. Like, you know what, man? You memorized every single Pokemon. I guarantee you can memorize this too, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of always pushes me over the edge.
You could do anything. You have your doctorate in catching Pokemon.
I'm a Pokemon master, baby.
Exactly.
I'm invincible.
God damn it.
Well, I had about, that's funny you mentioned that. I had about 130 Pokemon left going into the pandemic. And it's probably another good lesson. I was like, there's no way I could like finish that. You know what I mean? I just said that one day and I was like, but how far could I get? And I kind of like pulled up Pokedex and I literally just wrote down every Pokemon I was missing.
Yeah.
And then I pulled out every single Pokemon game I owned and I was like, what's the fastest way I could do that? And I think I did it in like literally less than a week. It was like 5 days. Yeah.
Wow.
It was not hard. Like, honestly, it was kind of fun. I had the hardest one. So I was just like, oh yeah, I know where a Caterpie is. That'll take me like a minute, you know? That was awesome.
Okay. So what's this like the Pokedex you're talking about? Is that like on your phone? Is that in the new game? How does that work?
Yes. Well, it is in every game. Up until Sun and Moon, they would always have this thing called the National Dex in the game.
Okay.
And then Sun and Moon got rid of the National Dex, and you just have the local Pokedex in that game.
Okay.
The local Pokedex is just what you find in Sun and Moon, right?
Oh, okay. So like,
but before that, the
still,
national,
like, regional.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, you'd have like a regional Pokedex and a national, and
this is the one with like the Alolan versions of
things.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All the Alolan Pokemon.
I like the one that's like a palm tree.
Oh, Executor is so good.
Yeah, it's so
My wife was just saying she hates all the new forms of Pokemon, and I was like, okay, that's fine. That's all right. I'm okay with that. But you could not tell me you hate a little one Executor. They have a new one now too that's based on Charlie Chaplin. And it's what Mr. Mime turns into if he's in Galar, which is the British region. His name is Mr. Rhyme. And he has like big tap dance shoes. Oh, it's amazing.
Love that.
It's so good. Anyway.
The one I fucking was like, what? Was like the far-fetched, like he's a knight now, is like Sirfetch'd.
Oh, Sirfetch'd. Genius. That's how you get people interested in like these old Pokemon again.
Yeah.
For real. I think that's such a good method. And it actually makes sense, like in the lore, why that would happen. It's like, oh, you're in a different environment. Of course it's going to look different, right? That's what animals do in real life. So it's like, oh, so cool. I'm sorry, man. What were we talking about before? The
Pokedex. So this is like something that you did across a bunch of games, not just one singular game.
I did it across a bunch of games. I started in X and Y and Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire. And I did it in Sun and Moon. I filled that one out. And I didn't quite do all of it, I don't think, in those games. But now they have the app Pokemon Home, and I finished the Pokedex in the app.
Okay.
The games
that's
nowadays,
something
because
you
you can't
take
put every
with you.
Pokemon in it. Yeah, it's all with me all the time. I can just whip out my doctorate whenever I want. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, I actually use it for my ID in clubs now.
Yeah, to get into the Pokemon Club.
I'm joking. I've not gone to a club. Yeah. So I filled out the Pokedex and Pokemon Home, and they gave me that a little like thing. So, thanks for playing our game and thanks for completing it. They give you a shiny charm in every game that you complete, and that'll make it twice as easy to catch shiny Pokemon.
So like
which
a
is
3,000 chance now.
Well, it started in 1 in 8,000 something.
Okay.
Now then 1 in 4,000
Oh, it's
something, and
different
now
for
that
each
it's
game.
like 1 in 2,000. So
Okay.
about 1 in 2,000, which is okay.
Nice.
You can lower that more. You can actually get it down to like 1 in 200. So those are pretty good odds. Anyway, they give you like a shiny legendary Pokemon for doing it, and
Nice.
yeah, my mom's proud of me now. So
okay, so we'll go into some trial by fire, some quicker questions here, but do
Sure.
take your time to answer them. Would you, or do you have a tattoo of this property?
I don't have a tattoo. I'd love one though, man.
What would you get?
I'm such a square. I'd probably get like a like the pattern that we have right now, the background Togepi pattern.
Okay,
I think
yeah.
I'd probably get like a little Togepi eggshell, like right
that's
there.
so sweet. Yeah,
That'd be so sick.
Is
Or
Togepi your
Cyndaquil.
favorite?
Togepi is because it's the very first toy I remember having. Period.
Right. In your lollipop.
And it was like the second Pokemon I had in Pokemon Gold.
Wow.
So they give you this mysterious egg and it hatches from that. And I didn't know that when I was a kid. And I didn't know what this toy came from because I hadn't watched like the new episodes of Pokemon, only the old ones.
Right.
So I took like 200 steps in the game and this egg hatch and this thing comes out. And I was just like, Mom.
So is it true that Togepi is actually like a legendary Pokemon?
In my head, he was the strongest Pokemon in history. He like, I'd play like with like Fisher Price Knights and stuff, and he was the commander of the army all the time. He's so powerful, and he's like Goku, Ultra Instinct.
Because he has an evolution, right?
Yeah, he's not good. Togepi sucks.
Oh, no.
Togetic, what he turns into is okay, and nowadays he has a new form called Togekiss.
Oh, okay.
And he's awesome too. He's so cool. I love him. He's like a big like bird egg fairy, I think. I'm not really sure what he is, but I love him. He's elegant.
Nice.
So cool. And he is really good. So
yeah, because I remember like that was like the mystery behind Togepi, and like the original show was like, what is this? Yeah. Okay. So we talked about your wife and her relationship with Pokemon, but was this something you brought up on your first date, or
no way
alternate world situation where you had another first date?
It sounds like I was a lot like your friend with the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Mine just had a bit of a nicer ending. I ended up confessing. Like my wife has her own thing. She collects thousands of books, right? Which is probably a better use of your time. But
she doesn't have a master's in books, does she?
Yeah, babe.
There you go.
Come on. I'll tell her that one later. Yeah, so she has definitely things that like she hid on like when we started dating and stuff. She's like, I don't really know. Do you think that's cool and stuff?
Right.
I remember her coming over one day and she saw a Game Boy game on my floor, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red. And she's like, is that a Pokemon game? And I'm like, no. And I like put it in the closet. She's like, do you play Pokemon? And I'm like, it was my little brothers, whatever and stuff. As there's like tons of Pokemon cards in my closet and stuff. I can't really remember when I just kind of was like, you know what, babe, I play a lot of I do know when. It was when I don't know why she didn't dump me right here. It was when I was like 15 years old and I started a Let's Play. I started a Let's Play and it all kind of came out that I think she watched an episode. She's like, you know a lot about Pokemon. And I was like, yeah, I do.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And I think like getting older, you just sort of like shed off all that. I'm not going to tell people about this thing about myself because I don't want them to judge me. And you're like, fuck it. It's just too much to keep.
Horrible way to live. Yeah.
Especially when you have like this wealth of information. Like they could probably name every Pokemon, and you're just like keeping that inside.
See, I live in like a very small conservative town in Alberta. So
Oof.
I guess I did ride around with a Pokemon hat and an Ash Ketchum jacket here though. So I don't know where my boundary lies. But there are definitely some like conversations you have with like, like 60, 70-year-old people. You know what I mean? Where you're just like, I don't know if now's the right time to mention. Like, what are you passionate about? And I'm just like, Pikachu, Togepi, obviously. Yeah. I think Arceus is super cool. Like, what are you doing?
Arceus is a god, right?
Arceus is God.
Is God of Pokemon
Yeah,
or of
he's
everybody?
kind of, he's the god of it. Like, he's kind of like Judeo-Christian God. Yeah, I know.
He's a Pokemon?
He's a Pokemon. Yeah, he literally
Wow.
made the creation trio, which are the Pokemon that are time, space, and antimatter, and then they create the universe.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't know Pokemon lore got that deep.
It got that, and that's generation 4. We're on 8 now. Can you imagine
Whoa,
where it's going? And he's the box legendary of Pokemon Legends, so he's God himself. But he's also
so
like
you
based
can't
on
catch
like
him, I bet.
No, I don't really think you've been able to yet. I do have him from like an event, but I don't think there's been like a fight. Like you couldn't catch it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like, I got it given to me. I think he's also based on like Dharma Buddhism and stuff, and like a whole bunch of different creation religions and mythologies. So he's super interesting Pokemon.
Yeah, I had no idea the Pokemon lore had elevated so much beyond.
Oh, just sit down, boy. I'm gonna teach you something.
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah. Take a second here. Tell me about some other wild facts of the Pokemon lore.
Okay. All right. So if somebody's gonna ask you, are we talking about like in-game lore or just lore about Pokemon?
Let's start with in-game, and then let's go to some obscure information in the real world.
Okay, I'm trying to think of some intro. Okay, like I said, one of my most favorite facts about Pokemon, or I guess it's a theory, is you find Ditto in the waterways leading outside from the Pokemon Mansion, and we know that Mewtwo was made inside the Pokemon Mansion, right?
Okay.
And Mewtwo went and hid in Cerulean Cave. And Ditto are also found in Cerulean Cave. So they kind of seem like they are on a trail of where Mewtwo is or was. And Mewtwo is a clone of Mew, right? And Mew knows the move Transform. He's one of the only Pokemon that can learn it. And the other Pokemon that can learn it is Ditto, who's a little pink blob. Right. So the implication of that, it kind of seems like, is that Ditto is the failed clone of Mew.
Oh, I love that.
That they kept doing over and over again. And then Mewtwo is like the perfect clone.
Oh, yeah, I like that theory.
I don't know if it's true. I maybe it is. I don't know if there's any truth there. Yeah.
I love that. I think just like the weird jelly inside the tube that Mewtwo's in, just God life.
Oh no, Ditto's awesome. Or like I guess you haven't played Gold and Silver, but Lugia and Ho-Oh, there's Ho-Oh is inside a tower that's still standing, and then there's a burn tower that's beside it, and that's where Lugia used to be. But the location that it's at in the Pokemon world, which is an actual map of Japan, basically, just they do add some things and take away some things, but it's basically a real world map of Japan. And that actual spot in Japan, there's literally 2 shrines that look identical to it, and there's a golden bird on top and a silver bird on top.
Oh wow!
They're east and west. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I know. And then when one of the towers burned down, and it seems as though that there was 3 EVs that were inside, or not 3 EVs, sorry, a Jolteon, a Vaporeon, and Flareon. And they were at the bottom of this burned down tower, right? And when Ho-Oh resurrects them, they come out to be these 3 legendary beasts, which are Suicune, Entei, and Raikou, because they're blessed with like these powers.
I didn't. Yeah. Oh, that's very cool. I didn't realize
it's implied anyway.
Yeah, we're evolved, heavenly evolved evolutions. That's really cool.
Yeah.
There is a theory, I think, because you said you watched the first episode of the very first episode of Pokemon over and over. So
Yeah.
there might be some of this that you need to confirm. But I think in that first episode, at the end of that episode, Ash sees Ho-Oh in the sky.
Yeah.
And so the theory is that when he sees Ho-Oh, he's at his like happiest moment or something. And because of Ho-Oh's powers, it keeps him in that form. And that's why he never ages.
I've seen that before. And that's why he's 10 forever. Yeah. I mean, if we want to put lore to it, I'm pretty sure Pokemon just wants to, bank on nostalgia forever. But it's just me. They're like, if we get rid of Ash, fans riot.
Exactly.
Even though nobody's watching it.
But those fans have like children who are watching the show now.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why that is. It's kind of a comforting thing, right? It's like, I don't know, like people don't get mad when Bart and Homer don't age.
Yeah.
Bart would be like 40 something years old by now, wouldn't he?
Yeah. See,
Ash would be like 35.
Is that I've never felt that way about The Simpsons. Like I've never been like, why don't they age? I've just never.
It's probably because it's a sitcom and like sitcoms are like that, and Pokemon is an adventure. It is really weird. I feel like I remember watching an episode as a kid where Ash said something, or somebody said it was like an anniversary of something that happened in the show. But I'm like, how can it be a year since you've done this thing?
Yeah.
If he's 10, what's going on?
Dead, yeah.
Weird.
See, I would like in my dark, gritty Pokemon universe that doesn't exist. It'd be like they find Ash in a cave and he's like an old grizzled man, or maybe he's like an old 10-year-old boy. He's stuck in that form and he's like, someone end me. I don't want to
That's
live
intriguing.
Like
I like that. I like that.
Okay.
No, I think they've shown the protagonist from that game. I think he's older right now. He aged like the protagonist from the original Pokemon games.
Okay.
I don't know if he's like actually like 20, but he seems like he's like of age.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see like a Pokemon trainer have to deal with like taxes and like just like horrible, awful shit. Like what's a Pokemon pandemic like? You know what I mean? Just like Ash just done with it. 30 something, taking a drag of a cigarette in the morning, sipping coffee. Pikachu, there's a tombstone outside that says Pikachu on it.
Oh no, don't do that.
In a shoebox. We wouldn't be alive.
Yeah, I guess not.
I don't know.
Maybe Pokemon never age. Maybe that's
who knows.
Because I always thought like how they go back into the ball. Like I don't know if they've ever explained that. I don't know if you know that lore, but my interpretation was Pokemon are just like unstable nuclear energy, and the ball can harness it. But when they come out, that's why they have powers, is because they're like these mutated, unstable beings.
I think I've read this fan theory before too. Are you trolling Reddit?
No. These are things I've probably seen like on Twitter as a result of Reddit. And I'm like,
yeah. I think I've seen something like that before. I know that like Pokeballs, they break down the Pokemon on like molecular level.
Oh wow.
And then like they store them as like data basically inside the ball. And then when you throw it, they like shoot out. I do think they kind of explain that a little bit.
I hate that.
I know. And in black and white, you see a Dragonite inside of a Pokeball. And he's like hunched over. He's all upset about it, but he's like curled up in a ball. And in my head, they're not like that. I always picture like, because they say the environments are perfect for the Pokemon. I pictured them like somehow they shrink down and there's like a little bed in there and food or something.
Yeah, I used to picture it just like Patrick's house in SpongeBob.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
I like your idea better, where it's like a little biome type of thing, and they're in there. They don't even realize the difference. They're just like really small.
I think that makes sense then to why like a what are they called? A net ball would like work better on a bug or a fish type, because it's like an environment made for them, or like you know what I mean? Or like a heavy ball would work better for a heavy Pokemon and stuff like that. Or a friendship ball makes them friendlier towards you. That makes more sense to me than if it's like that. I know Pokemon or Pokeballs, they kind of touch on it a little bit, I think, that they're from apricorns in the game. They're like little like fruit, I guess, that you find on trees.
Okay.
and they're shaped like balls. And I guess somebody in ancient like feudal Pokemon Japan times like
because that's a thing too, right?
carved it out.
Like
What's
in
that?
feudal times in the lore of the game, Pokemon used to fight side by side with people.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what the plot of Legends Arceus is supposedly. So
Oh wow, okay.
yeah. So I guess I don't know if they like haul out the fruit or how the tech works. In Legends Arceus, it looks like there's steam coming out of it. I don't really know how it works. A detail I did like though is I don't think they shrink in Legends Arceus. I think that they were just stuck as like that big ball.
Oh
And
wow.
like in like new Pokemon, you touch the little thing and they like
Yeah,
expand.
yeah. I love that sound.
I always thought that was so cool. I know. Oh, and the sound they make is like they hit the Pokemon, like that click, and then it opens up. Oh man, that was the best sound.
Love that.
So much good sound effects.
Okay, well, if you could, would you live in the Pokemon world?
Oh man, totally. I mean, it seems like I wouldn't age for one. Seems like although the world's being threatened pretty much monthly, it seems like by some evil team, I don't know, it doesn't seem like they've got a lot of politics to deal with. That kind of sounds nice.
Yeah. Everyone on that level seems to get along.
Yeah, exactly. You don't really hear about like, I don't know, horrible things like death and famine and stuff.
Right.
Not that you probably don't hear about those things for a good reason. Nobody poops. I've never seen a Pokemon poop before.
Very true.
You know? So, I mean, it'd be a great world. I'm just looking at this as an adult, but in all actuality, man, I want to fly on a Pokemon so bad.
Oh yeah.
I always thought that'd be the coolest. I always wanted like a Zapdos or an Articuno and like just hold on to them and just fly around.
I wonder if they would like
so
zap you or freeze you.
I don't know either, right? Like that's why I didn't say Moltres, because I'm like, I'd fry. Yeah. But then you also got to think like, and then I gotta feed like a giant 700-pound bird. That would suck.
Yeah, or unless you know, if you can shrink down, like I'm thinking like the Pokeballs now, I'm thinking of them like an Ant-Man biome. So you can just shrink down things. But does that
it is true. Maybe that's why we don't hear about Pokemon pooping and eating them. Maybe there's food and
they do all that in the ball.
They'll do that in ball.
Once a month you clean the ball out. It's like super gross. And
like a
their
toothbrush.
poos become like life size. So gross.
Oh, that's good. That's a good fan theory. I like that.
How much money would it take you to never play, watch, or consume any type of Pokemon content ever again?
I would say could I at least like watch YouTube videos about it? Could I like watch somebody? Oh man, like I just can't touch it.
Can't even talk about it.
I would need like at least like 600,000, I would say. Around there.
Okay.
Yeah. That's like enough for it to start to be like, okay. Yeah, I don't need to touch Pokemon.
Yeah. That's a relative.
After like
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say after like 10,000, I feel like my family and friends would be like, "You're an idiot. You need to like not worry about this."
Yeah, I like some of the answers on this show vary because it'll go from like 2 million and someone will be like, "Oh, $5,000," and then I'm like, "What, really?" And they're like, "Wait, no, more for this stupid hypothetical question." But I always say, it's more so if this property makes you X amount happy or attributes to X amount of your overall life happiness, how much is that worth to you? That portion, right? If it's like 50% of the joy in my life comes from Pokemon, it's probably going to be a little bit more than $60,000 or $600,000.
That is true. Yeah. But that's the thing. I don't think it's 50% of
right.
joy.
Yeah, that would be
I like it. You know? Yeah.
Would be a little concerned for you then.
Yeah, like, dude, are you okay?
Yeah, but like I think like a healthy is like maybe like anywhere from like 2 to 5% is
for
probably
sure.
like
yeah.
Or
my life. I mean, I could only imagine how much time I put in Pokemon in my life.
Right.
I remember like going back to like an old save I had in one of them, and it said like 150 hours in one of them, and I was like, what was I doing? What did I do in that game? I kind of wonder if I left it open maybe, but that's a long time, man.
Yeah, I remember one of my buddies. This was when we were in the 9th grade, and he had started playing World of Warcraft in the 7th grade, and by the 9th grade, he had 45 days played. of World of Warcraft.
Oh my
And
God.
he had started dating this girl. They had been dating for about a month, and he was saying something to me about how he's got a girlfriend and something. And I'm like, and you've logged more time in World of Warcraft than you have with your girlfriend. Shut up. It was just like the worst. But I don't know
5 days.
where
I don't
he
know if I've
ended
done
up.
any hobby that much, man.
Yeah.
That's a long
I mean,
time.
I'm sure I have at this point. There's
I
got to be
probably
games.
have.
Like there's
Yeah.
probably a few, like Modern Warfare 2, I probably put at least like a few weeks, if not more, of time played. And then I don't even know. Skyrim probably
Oh,
equivalent.
easy one. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we heard me talk a lot about my scatterbrained script that I bombarded my friend with a drunken night. But I want to know if you had to spearhead the next Pokemon movie or the next Pokemon game or anime, which type of project would you take on? And what would your contribution, what would you bring into it?
I feel like I do have a bit of a background with like drawing, and I've worked on animation projects before and stuff. I don't think I'd go there though. I just feel like because that's not what moves the franchise. I think I'd be chomping at the bit for either a film or a game. And I think I'd rather make a game. I feel like they're handling the films okay. I feel like they're doing all right with them. Honestly, it's what a world I live in where I'm saying they're handling the Pokemon movie more satisfying for me than the games. That is true. I would just get all hands on deck with a Pokemon game. Like with a budget like that in a franchise like that, I think your end product should be better than what it is.
Right.
You work beside Nintendo. They're like the greatest programmers in history, like literally. They had Satoru Iwata, who is like the CEO of Nintendo, literally programmed a whole other region into Pokemon Gold. So you beat Johto, which is like your main region, and then you go back to Kanto, which is the original one at the end of the game. You know what I mean? That's incredible. That's like some end game content. That's something to talk about. That stuff's not in these games anymore, like at all, right? You pretty much beat them and you're done. So I would like get all hands on deck. I'd get I just try to organize things as best I can. Not saying that I can direct a bit video game better than Junichi Masuda or any of those people, but I feel like if I had that kind of money and I had that kind of design team, I feel like if you're a director, you should be able to get a better end product out of that.
Wow.
So I think something's going wrong, like a fundamental level, if you're only able to go that far,
Right.
Yeah,
and like you said earlier, it's got to be like those time constraints, right? Like if you got to pump this out within a year, there's only so much improvement. Reminds me sort of like sports video games, where it's like every year you're getting essentially the same game. If you went from 2010 NHL game to 2020, you'd be like, oh wow, there's some improvements here, but nothing you'd be like, wow, when did they change that? That's incredible. It's mostly the same game, and I feel like Pokemon suffers from that same, like you were saying earlier, stagnation as well. So taking the time and getting all hands on deck, I think would definitely produce.
I delay it too, which I kind of get why Pokemon doesn't delay, because if they delay, they also are delaying movies, anime, cards. They probably just spent more money delaying it than they did just putting it out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's I feel like though, like if they just at a planning level, maybe the next like 3 Pokemon games are probably already being worked on, I bet, the mainline ones. But if they after that just went like, we should pause or we're gonna lose our minds, that would help so much. That would change everything.
And if you could voice a character, because you're a voice actor, if you could voice a character in a Pokemon movie or play one because you're an actor as well, what type of character would you play? Or actually, better yet, what Pokemon would you like to voice if you could voice a Pokemon?
Ooh, I have always wanted to voice like a Pokemon that I would voice. I think I love Charmander and like the Charmander voice.
Okay,
like that
here's your audition.
Okay,
go ahead and give us your best Charmander.
I might wake up my kid, but let's see what I do. Okay. That's all I got.
Well done. Love that.
Yeah, thanks. Like, don't show my agent that.
Love that. And then what character would you like to play?
Oh man, I would want to play I think I'd want to play like an important character, like a gym leader or a champion, but I don't think I'd want to be like a protagonist or anything.
Okay. What type of gym leader would you be? I love that answer.
Oh yeah. Let's say like a fictional gym leader that's not out yet. I want to be like a dark type gym leader.
Oh.
That like, I don't know, he's got like, maybe he's designed off of like Umbreon, so he's got like comb, like little braids in his hair or something, and he's got like the like yellow lines all over him.
Ooh, I like this.
Tattoos maybe. Yeah,
that's sick. I love that.
Maybe he puts in yellow contact lenses.
That's sick.
Oh no, he'd be like oh no, they did that in the last one. I was about to say he'd be like a pop punk member for sure. But then I'm like, oh man, the last game did that. That sucked. I was so amped though. Such a cool gym.
I love that.
Maybe I just
gym
like to play
leader
that
who's
game.
like a southern accent. I think he's like a ground type. I don't know the types, but he's like Sandshrew, you slash.
There's a dude named Clayton in Generation 5. That's like that. Yeah. And he'd be fun.
Awesome.
No, there's so many. It's something that people gloss over with Pokemon a lot, but there's so many good NPCs that like I think their designs are just as good as the Pokemon. And Pokemon is one of the best design series ever, if not the best. So
I remember like going into a battle, like you're in a place where like you walk past somebody and you can't go past them before they come and talk to you, and then when your images slide across and then end up where they end up, I just remember being like, oh shit, yo, that hat's sick. What the fuck, he's got the belt too. Holy, it's like sick as fuck.
I remember thinking like some of like I think they're like the picnicker characters or something in one of the games, where it was like Lass Beauty or something like that, Beauty Lass. I remember being like, oh man, they're so pretty, they're so cute. Like but as a kid I'd be like, you can't have a crush on a cartoon, Ethan.
Yeah,
but now
it's
I'm
very
a man.
taboo.
It's totally
no,
totally
man,
cool.
it's okay. Oh no.
Okay, we gotta move. We gotta go. Next topic.
So final question here. I'd just like you to make a sound that sums up your love of Pokemon.
Just a sound?
Yeah.
Bulbasaur. That's all I got.
Very good. Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you for coming on the show. It's been
thanks.
Long in the works, I guess you could say. So glad to finally have you on the show. If people want to chat with you about Pokemon or hire you for work or anything of the such, or just be your pal, where can they find you?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm kind of I don't have a great social media presence, if I'm honest. I've been off for about a year. Facebook Messenger, Ethan Snowden, man. You want to send me an email, Ethan Snowden at yahoo.ca.
I love that. Oh, that's so awesome. I haven't had to put the email in like the little box yet, so that'll be fun.
I'm gonna get spam. Oh no.
No,
I'm gonna get fine. Yeah, I know. I was watching the Unabashed with Zelda the other day, and I was like, oh man, I'm not even on Instagram or Twitter anymore. So I'm like, I'm not really on social media.
Yeah. For people who are watching, listening, don't forget to like this video if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell so you're notified when these videos come out. You can check for our main show every Tuesday where we break down a niche, obscure, or sometimes broad topic of fantasy and sci-fi, and get into it with Luca and Will and I. And look out for this show every other Friday. And when it's not this show, you can catch an episode of Lords of Lore Adventures where we play a tabletop role-playing game online, or you can catch a book review by Luke and I. And follow me on social media, just that Instagram. Keep making. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Bye.